Russia is engaged in armed combat to reclaim the country of Ukraine, a topic we hardly even get to, thanks to the flood of bad news from the Middle East these days. North Korea is basically the crazy uncle with nuclear weapons in his closet. No one worries about the repercussions of using them because we don't have time. While China just about swallows our economy, a few million at a time, while gearing up for an inevitable showdown, the experts say we are ill-prepared to face. Yes, the president is absolutely right. The United States is not engaged in a major ground war. But there is a battle raging. And the question tonight is, are we losing? Joining me now, our senior political analyst, Brit Hume. Brit, good to see you tonight.
Hi, Megan.
And that's the question. I mean, is he off point?
Well, we're certainly not winning. And if you're engaged in a long war, as Winston Churchill's experience illustrates, you can go a long time before you start to win. The question is, does this president have the kind of commitment that the leaders in World War II had, which was based upon the premise that this was a war that had to be won, that this was an enemy that had to be defeated, because the survival of our civilization as we know it was at stake. I don't think this president has that view of the world as he sees it today, certainly not in the Middle East. I think he thinks that what ISIS is up to in the Middle East is basically a regional threat, and he's doing what he's doing in a sort of limited way because he thinks he has to for political reasons. But I don't think he's doing it because he thinks that ISIS must be defeated for the safety and security of the United States. I don't think he believes that. I don't think he believes that what Vladimir Putin has been up to in Ukraine and perhaps elsewhere is a direct threat to the United States. And I think that he feels that, yes, we need to do something to answer China's moves in that part of the world, but nothing that urgent. And so his heart is not in doing these things. And the result is that we are fighting a kind of a half-hearted, tentative war in the Middle East and elsewhere.
How can he not believe that ISIS is more than a regional threat when those items that I ticked through those are from his people? You know, we're talking about the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the director of National Intelligence.
Megan, frankly, I don't think he agrees with those people.
They're
I don't think
wrong.
he's going to.
I realize he went to Harvard, and presidents tend to be arrogant, but he thinks they're all wrong, and he's right.
Well, I think he doesn't want to say that he thinks they're wrong, but his actions speak volumes. And his actions are basically ones to restrain the use of American power in the world, especially and above all military power. And I think he believes that if we apply our force in the most, forceful way, if you will, that we're in danger of doing more harm than good. I mean, we read now that the targeting against ISIS has been limited for fear of civilian casualties, even into the headquarters town in Syria of ISIS, because we're not going to hit the headquarters. There may be civilians there, and he's worried about the alienating effect of the application of American power, and I think he thinks that will, in the end, cause more harm than good, and it will be worse off because of it.
Mm-hmm. He has said that from the beginning. I mean, he's talked about how we were going to turn this page when he became president. A different tenor would be set. America's standing in the world would be reinstated. And, his comments about how things in the Muslim world in particular were going to be so much improved upon his inauguration. And now, more and more, Brit, you get these alarming columns like the one I referenced in National Review that, and that's just a column that says, that's an opinion guy. But we're talking about military generals who are out there saying this is now a generational conflict and we're losing it right now.
Well, that is certainly what a lot of military people think, but you've got to remember, he's a creature of his own experience and his own ideology, and to a considerable extent of his own party. And this is the party that is always the more hesitant to use military force. This is the party of people who saw a president undone by the Vietnam War. And this is a party of resistance to the use of military force by and large. And that is what he is. That is what he's about.
So then you come out and you say, we're not doing it. We're sick of it. It's not our battle. Let them fight it. Be clear on that. But instead, we get nonsense like, we're winning. And the most extraordinary soundbite today from Josh Earnest at the White House. I had to listen to myself and reread it 3 times to understand. Listen to the message here. Okay, we're winning. We have about 1,000 battles that we need to refight to actually win, but we're winning. Watch.
what's true is that the strategy that the president has deployed alongside our 60 coalition partners has more often than not yielded important success. And there's a lot more important work that needs to get done. That there's, whether it's Ramadi, the Anbar province, obviously it's retaking Mosul is going to be a very difficult campaign as well. But we continue to have confidence in the strategy.
Yeah. Yes, that is going to be difficult. Ramadi, Mosul, Anbar province, to say nothing of, the entire list, if you want to go through it, Al-Walid, Mosul, Tal Afar, Badush, Fallujah, Qaim, Rawa, Ana. This is just a Palmyra, on it goes. It is going to be a little tough, but we're winning.
At bottom, he says that. That's what he's paid to say. And I sympathize with the guy. This is not an easy case to make at this stage.
No.
Basically, what he's saying is we have a long-term strategy that requires patience and the participation of our 60 member nations in the coalition. But the lesson of history is that when the United States doesn't lead and lead in a big way and go in big, these coalitions really end up not doing very much. And this has been true forever in Europe. The United States was the entire backbone of the post-World War II Western strategy. It was our military forces, many of which are still in Europe. We've got forces posted all over the world as part of a muscular response to the threats that arose in the aftermath of World War II. People forget that. There are, in excess of 100,000 American troops, 150,000 or so posted in far-flung places all over the world. This president is not about that. This president is about the withdrawal of American military forces wherever possible. This is a president who believes that American military might is often misapplied, and his definition of success, I think, is very different from what a lot of military people think and what a lot of American people normally associate with that word.